2026. And then we also talk about the Miami Open, which definitely is going. Novak Djokovic is in the news. Arina Sabalenka is also in the news. But we'll talk about the Miami Open. So we still come back to talk about some continental football. Talking about that's the African Cup of Nations, the Women's African Cup of Nations, to be precise. Desire Ellis, Dr. Desire Ellis of South Africa. She has come out to also criticize those who don't see South Africa as contenders for the Women's African Cup of Nations title. So all of this we'll discuss on today's edition of the show right on 32 FM 94.9. And you are listening to the voice of 𝐃𝐈𝐒𝐂𝐋𝐈𝐒 and SAMIES on the program this lovely Friday morning. Well, all right, let's start straight from the UEFA Women's Champions League games that went on yesterday. Well, a comeback completed for Chelsea Football Club yesterday. They defeated Manchester City by 3-0. Well, first half strikes from their players, and you talk about this level of performance from Chelsea Football Club. 3 victories in the last 4 outings against Manchester City. Baltimore, John and Ramirez were the goal scorers for Chelsea Football Club yesterday as they defeated Manchester City by 3-0. Of course, qualifying on an aggregate scoreline of 3-0. And they booked their slots that's in the semi-finals of the UEFA Champions League, of course, against FC Barcelona. Well, for the other semi-final encounter, it was Lyon who would be up against that's Arsenal Football Club in the semi-finals of the UEFA Champions League. 10 goals to on an aggregate scoreline. That was the victory for Barcelona, defeating Wolfsburg. That's on an aggregate scoreline to reach the semi-finals of the UEFA Champions League. And then we'll talk about a bit of English football also before we join our partners, the English Premier League. Well, remember that this weekend marks the action, a return to action of English football. But this is talking about the FA Cup, where Manchester City that FA Cup success to save their troubled season. We're also still talking about a bit of English football before we join our partners. Well, the Premier League also alters transfer window to accommodate a Club World Cup. So this means that we talk about the transfer window. This is going to be open just before the Club World Cup. Let's join our partners, the BBC Premier League update, to take a listen to what they have for us on that front. While we talk about updates and make it around today in the world of English football. The BBC Premier League update.
BBC Premier League update from the home of Premier League football.
Hello, I'm Paul Serres at the BBC Sports Centre. Nottingham Forest travelled to Brighton in the FA Cup quarter-final this weekend, 1 win away from a trip to Wembley. They'll have to make do without their top scorer Chris Wood, however, after the New Zealand forward picked up an injury on international duty as his nation qualified for the World Cup. Here's the Forest manager, Nuno Espírito Santo.
He went for a scan today. We're still waiting. He went to a specialist to do the scan. So we wait on the information and see. He's not going to be available for this game. I don't know if you know, he was in a kick. He fall really hard on his hip. So there is pain there, so we have to wait.
In the weekend's other last 8 ties, Fulham host Crystal Palace, Aston Villa take on second-tier Preston North End, and Manchester City visit Bournemouth. Good news for Arsenal supporters. Winger Bukayo Saka could be named in the squad to face Fulham in the English Premier League next week. The 23-year-old has been out since December after sustaining a hamstring tear in the win at Crystal Palace, which needed surgery. West Ham have been charged by the Football Association over alleged homophobic chanting by their fans during last month's 2-1 loss at Chelsea. The FA said the Hammers were being charged with misconduct in relation to crowd control. The Premier League has announced that it will have 2 transfer windows this summer to allow Manchester City and Chelsea to sign players before the Club World Cup. The window will initially open between Sunday the 1st of June and Tuesday the 10th, then close for 5 days before running again from Monday the 16th until Monday the 1st of September. And for more football news from the BBC, go to bbc.com/football.
BBC Premier League update from the home of Premier League football.
right, welcome back from that BBC Premier League update. There you listened to what you need to know about the update from English football. Chris Wood said to me that's Nottingham Forest game this weekend, and then talking about the transfer window for Chelsea and Manchester City. Well, let's move away from that and talk about some funny stories at this point. We had Novak Djokovic, well, the Serbian international, this man is in the history books. Well, we talk about his heroics there with his gameplay. Well, Novak Djokovic turned on style to take his place in the last four of the Miami Open with an impressive 6-3, 7-6 win over Sebastian Korda, becoming the oldest man to reach the Masters 1000 semi-final. Well, he made a strong start against Korda, breaking early, get a first set advantage that he never let slip, but Korda showed greater resilience in the second set. But then you talk about some other actions also. Czech teenager, that's Jakub Mensik, he matched into his first Masters semi-final when he defeated Otto Fields 7-6, 6-1. And Fields had enjoyed one of the biggest wins of his career when he defeated Alexander Zverev, but struggled to repeat the feat against the 19-year-old. Well, still moving away from that also and talking about funny stories. Talk about Jasmine Paolini and Aryna Sabalenka. Well, world number one, Aryna Sabalenka blasted her way into the finals of the Miami Open with a convincing 6-2, 6-2 demolition of Jasmine Paolini. And Sabalenka needed just 71 minutes to wrap up her win against the 6th seed. And she's now going to face the winner between Jessica Pegula and Alexander Ayala. And to the world of basketball also, for the GSWs, talking about the Golden State Warriors, they said that Steph Curry, he returned to practice and is listed as a questionable to return from a pelvic contusion against the New Orleans Pelicans in the early hours of tomorrow. That's according to their coach, Steve Kerr, who said the Warriors scrimmaged of 6 minutes and that Curry participated and looked good. Still talking about the NBA. Well, the NBA will not bring back its All-Star Games, a mini tournament. That's next season. That's according to the commissioner, Adam Silver. I said the format that was used last month, a 4-team tournament, made up of 24 All-Stars and another team of rookies and sophomores that played its way in by winning the Rising Stars event on All-Star Friday. Let's come up to talk about the Nigeria Premier Football League, where the Remo Stars, the Sky Blue Boys, you tell that their impressive season continues. Also, that's in the world of football. They got a victory for themselves yesterday, and you could tell that that victory is the best for them as they are eyeing their first NPFL title. Yesterday, Oluyole Warriors talking about the Shooting Stars. They let go slip away their 2-goal advantage in that encounter against the Kanami Warriors. Remember, myself and Peter were here also discussing about the chances of the Shooting Stars getting the maximum 3 points in that encounter after they picked up that's a 2-goal lead in the first half of that game. Well, but at the end of 90 minutes, it was not the result in which Shooting Stars would have wanted that in match day 31 of their NPFL encounter. Well, the result of the game definitely has hampered the chances of the Shooting Stars maybe participating on the continent, because yes, they are still fourth with 47 points. But how many points are they from Remo Stars, who has 60 points and with a game in hand? Well, you talk about the level of performance from Daniel Ogumodede and his boys. Second is Rivers United with 52 points. We also have Abia Warriors, that's in third position with 50 points, while the Oluyole Warriors are fourth with 47 points. And then let's see how they can qualify for continental football. But to the full result of games that went down yesterday, well, you tell that for Remo Stars, like I said, they were victorious in their game yesterday, defeating Eyimba by 2-0. After defeating Eyimba by 2-0, Loka United defeated Niger Tornadoes also 2-0. You talk about El Kanami Warriors playing out a 2-2 against Shooting Stars. Plateau United away from home, they defeated Enugu Rangers by 1-0. Well, those are the results of games that went down yesterday in the Nigeria Premier Football League. All right, that's all how far we can go on today's edition of the show right on 32 FM. We'll come later in the afternoon to discuss some more sporting stories and then talk extensively about the shooting stars. Lots of Ibadan football fans are not excited with the level of performance of the Oluyole Warriors, but we'll come later in the afternoon to discuss about all of that and the build-up to the weekend. Myself alongside a Blessing and a Peter. Do enjoy the rest of the day and bye for now.